In one of the best apartment buildings to live in 2025, an older guy is sitting in a room that looks quite fancy, slowly sipping a cup of coffee and then looking out the window balcony. He might look like just an average guy, but this older guy is actually Director Baekhi of the HK Trading Company. Wherever he goes, the employees have to bow politely. In the morning, he already drank a cup of coffee at home. Then coming to the company, he had another big cup of tea. After a walk to supervise the employees in the outer rooms, they seem to work very seriously, but the deeper you go inside, especially the break rooms and training rooms of the company, they are actually places that host real money betting. The big shots just throw money around like leaves, and every table has a few stacks of cash for betting. Going deeper into the next room, it is exactly the place where they put the over-under gambling machines. He just strolls from the outside to the inside like that with a very satisfied look on his face. The next room is a place for card games, casinos, and all kinds of stuff. And lately the guy nicknamed Lizard comes here all day long. It turns out he is the type of guy who will slip away immediately without leaving a single trace if anyone spots him. With his job as the head of the apartment management board, if he is willing to pay his debt in full, his salary is actually pretty high. This time he has a meeting with Director O. It turns out this meeting is just to make excuses for the fact that this director owes the company a ton of money and has no money to pay, so he had to be threatened a bit to calm down. Not only that, this company also lent money to a few other directors so much that they had to run and hide. Director Choi is the exact next victim. He was watching a concert when suddenly a group of people chased him, making him run around in a panic, and he did not even have the time to give the bouquet of flowers to the girl in the stands. Running to the equipment room, thinking he got away. But who would have thought the company guys already blocked him right in front? He panicked and confessed right away that he himself had no money to pay. His mouth said he had no money, but in his active account, there was still up to 300 million won. So he was forced by the company to sign a money withdrawal, and at the same time, cancel his wife's life insurance to pay the debt. Not only that, Director Park even took the land compensation money that his family was supposed to get. Meanwhile, Haji over here is joining a contest at a kindergarten, and she won, bringing home first place for the whole family. You would think that was her family, but it turns out she is just a stand-in for the contest. Her best friend looked openly annoyed, saying that at least she should have acted the part completely, instead of just focusing on the first prize like that. That night, Ha planned to talk to her older sister about the fact that she failed the bar exam last time. Who would have thought, before she could even say a single word, her sister threw a gift box right in front of her. Because this is an expensive designer outfit but fits a lawyer's job perfectly, her sister bought it for her. Looking at this gift box, she did not have the heart to tell the truth. Her current position right now is a consultant specializing in handling defamation and fraud cases. Meanwhile, Director Park is going mountain climbing with some big shots working in the police force. Hae Kang, while mountain climbing, took on carrying all the bags for those guys. After that, he even prepared food for everyone and all sorts of gifts as if to win them over, and these gifts were all luxury items or very hard to find. It turns out the things he does are just to take care of his sick older brother, Yi-man. The amount of money he transferred to Yi-man was incredibly huge, catching him by surprise. So Yi-man also advised Hae Kang not to keep managing the casino like that because it is both difficult and dangerous. But Hae Kang thought that his brother must earn enough money to be able to be independent, because with the current amount of money, just running around everywhere would not leave much at all. When he got back to the company, suddenly that head of the apartment management board from the other day made a huge fuss because he is a VIP now. But he started borrowing way too much and the guys did not dare to lend him anymore, so he was screaming and yelling. Luckily, he arrived in time to settle things smoothly. Otherwise, if that guy just stood there demanding compensation, they would be totally screwed. At the Green Pine Garden, some super rich guys are gathering together into a club to talk about faction matters, propping this guy up to be president and all that. Then the bureau chief dropped by. He smooth-talked to win over every single T-screen, but eventually someone cut him off, saying this is not a fan club meeting. If he wants to join this exclusive club, the joining fee will be 10 billion. Because among the members here, no one is just rich, there are only super rich people. The bureau chief heard this number and his jaw dropped. He went back and discussed with his subordinate that he should have pocketed more, embezzled and taken more bribes to have enough. Because every day, no matter how hard he tries, he only makes about 2 billion, so the subordinate suggested a trick. That is to siphon money from Hae Kang, a guy who can do anything, running a whole casino disguised as a trading company. His debt collection skills must be said to be incredibly cunning. Hearing that, the bureau chief immediately went to find him. He forced him to cough up 10 billion, while he had already paid off so many people, leaving him with hardly anything now. But because this guy is his backer, he just had to suck it up. So the very next day, while Hae Kang was getting some coffee to drink, Suddenly, a bunch of employees were taken away by the police, shocking him to the core. That bureau chief acted so fast that all of He Kang's guys were completely locked up. He even staged all sorts of scenarios to use as an excuse to arrest them, and right at the exact moment they were calling He Kang too. That very night, he ran to the bureau chief's house and gave him all the money he currently had, but in the end he only let him bail out his subordinates. As for his only older brother, Yi-Man, he was still locked up because he needed to keep him as a hostage. What is even more terrible is that he gave him exactly 3 months to scrape together the full 10 billion. After saying that, he immediately went into the house without saying another single word. Going back to his student days, He Kang had a bunch of strangers barging right into his house for no clear reason. It turns out his dad had borrowed 30 million from them, but had no money to pay. Now he had to become the collateral instead of his own dad. Yet when he went to find him, he shunned him, and even told those guys to throw him out as if he had never been his son. Then, in that pouring rain, Yang Man stepped up to hold an umbrella for him, and said that he should find his own dream again while staying by his side. As time went by, He Kang had fulfilled his duty as a younger brother and as a son, so Yi-Man did not want him to keep having to save him anymore. After that, all the subordinates gathered at He Kang's house. He just wanted everyone from now on to take care of their own lives, and as for everything else, just letting him shoulder it alone was fine. Everyone had tracked down all the documents and evidence related to the crimes of that bureau chief, but they did not dare to bring it to light for fear that he would ruin the lives of them all. So the 3 subordinates had just stood in the middle of the street saying their goodbyes, and then 2 seconds later, the whole gang came back and stood in front of He Kang, hoping to continue tagging along with him to rescue Yi-Man. So the very next day, the 4 of them started going around collecting debts, selling apartments, and doing all sorts of things with all kinds of people. But by the end of the day, they still could not collect much money, and finally, the whole group could only come up with a way to organize a really big wedding to rake in a few $100 million. The groom was exactly He Kang, which made him incredibly mad, but for the common goal of the whole group, he had to accept it. The result was beyond expectations when the gangster guys who had hung up their swords and quit the business all gathered fully. The wedding gift money was so much that it even spilled out of the box, and the bride was exactly Ha. She was a bit stunned because she was informed to only come as a guest, not to be a bride. But after hearing about the amount of money she would receive, up to 5 million won, her eyes lit up and she closed the deal right away. So the wedding was held just like that. The 2 walked hand in hand down the aisle under the cheering of the gangster guys. Next up was a performance by the 3 younger guys that was incredibly funny and noisy, making the atmosphere more lively than ever before. While everyone was clapping and dancing super enthusiastically, the bride could only stare around wide-eyed, not understanding what the heck was going on, and even less expecting the groom to happily join the music too. When it came to the photo session, the bride and groom had to kiss. Everyone around kept shouting, "Kiss, kiss," making Ha blush bright red, and she turned to look at He Kang, but he just calmly said, 2 million more, making her eyes light up. She puckered her lips and kissed him right away without any hesitation. He Kang looked at her, fully helpless, but did not know what to do either. So the 2 really kissed each other in the middle of the wildly cheering crowd. When the wedding ended and everyone went home, the 2 finally had a chance to sit down and talk to each other. Handing over the cash on the spot, he gave her 7 million, but she still complained about all sorts of things, because actually, that kiss did not even touch lips. It was him who slipped his finger in between the 2 of them, after all. Anyway, she was the one who closed the deal first, so in the end, she did not know what else to say, and could only advise him with one sentence: live as a lawful person. Summing up, after all that time, he had only gathered 4.5 billion and was still short a whole 6.5 billion. At this time, the subordinates finally brought up the debt of that apartment manager. But the hard part was that he was currently wanted for the crimes of embezzling and having affairs with the residents. So the whole group was determined to catch him before the police could find him. After a threat to jump off the building, he finally got scared and confessed everything. He said that in his apartment complex, there are up to 9,800 households, and the money that could be made from there is completely capable of reaching 10 billion. To verify this information, He Kang immediately used his super-fast mental math skills. Just looking at that guy's notebook, he calculated that the money he embezzled reached up to 4 billion won. While that apartment complex only has over 2,000 households, seeing a whole money-making future right in front of their eyes, He Kang and his subordinates were incredibly happy and immediately decided to do everything they could to earn that full 10 billion won. Seeing a future right before his eyes with up to 10 billion, He Kang immediately had his guys untie him and then gave a coat to that lizard to keep warm. Next, he asked him how exactly to get that 10 billion. He answered bluntly that he just needed to become the president of this apartment complex, and then he would have it. Before he could even finish his words, he was tied up again by the subordinates because he only talked about crazy nonsense. But before the subordinates could even touch him, he screamed for mercy. Then he told He Kang that he just needed to approach the vice manager, the person who is currently the head of management and also the apartment president. Because these two guys have been colluding with each other for a long time. As long as he could approach them, there would be a chance to take over this whole apartment complex. Once again, he said things that sounded incredibly hard to believe. So He Kang immediately told his subordinates to grab his arms and legs and throw him straight downstairs. But as soon as he was dragged away, he kicked and flailed around wildly. He continued to confess that he saw a notice posted in the elevator about electing a block representative. After that, he immediately kneeled down and begged him, saying that only when he becomes a block representative will he be qualified to run for the president position. But the hard part is that nobody even cares about this block representative position, so just by running for it, he would almost certainly be chosen. The very next second, the whole gang was standing in front of that notice. He Kang snatched a flyer and decided to register as a candidate. After that, the whole group had to stay up all night because He Kang kept pacing back and forth and did not let anyone sleep. But having said that, deep down he still could not possibly believe how an apartment complex could dig up 10 billion from anywhere. So that old fox eagerly told him to ask about the long-term maintenance fund himself to see how much money was left. Because that fund is exactly the big stomach that is bigger than everything everyone is thinking about. Acting on it right away, He Kang immediately called the female staff at the management board to ask how much money was left in the long-term maintenance fund. She also honestly answered that currently the fund still has up to 17.8 billion. Knowing this news, the whole gang was as happy as if they were throwing a party. Everyone's eyes lit up and they decided to follow this case to the very end to seize all of that money. As for Lizard, he claimed he had just done a great merit, so he acted incredibly arrogant and even bossed He Kang's subordinates around to go make coffee for him. Meanwhile, over here the mothers were teaching their kids how to protect nature and its rules by letting the kids plant trees in the flower bed. Everything was going very happily when suddenly a resident lady found it an eyesore, so she rushed over to pick a fight. She argued that the apartment's rules do not allow doing things like that. The soil here is red soil, so it cannot be used for such nonsense stuff. So the mothers got so mad and argued with her right away, while she went crazy and rushed in to rip out all the newly planted trees. After that incident, the mothers sat down together and decided to elect someone to be the block representative to represent their voices and rights, rather than letting a situation like this continue. Over here, Ha's older sister wanted to quit her job at the apartment management board because she thought her younger sister had become a lawyer, so she herself did not want to continue working here anymore. The president heard this news and immediately called her straight to his office to threaten her, saying that if she quits her job, she will not be able to live in peace. On He Kang's side at this time, he was listening to the old lizard explain the concept of the long-term maintenance fund. Even though everyone lives in the apartment building, nobody cares about this fund. Because if you figure it out, each household only has to pay about 30,000 a month. The amount of money is not too big, so everyone ignores it because they are still busy making more money. He took advantage of exactly this point to slowly siphon money from the residents living in the apartment complex. To put it simply, this fund is exactly the money paid in advance to use for fixing the apartment building over a long time. Because if they force the residents to pay a lump sum all at once, surely everyone will get mad. Like here, every month He Kang has to pay 29,000. Multiplied by 9,800 households, the total amount of money every month has already reached hundreds of millions of won, and if elected as block representative, he will automatically have the qualification to run for president. Of course, just needing the seal of the head of the management board and the apartment president. This 17.8 billion won will be withdrawn incredibly easily. So He Kang figured out that if this deal goes smoothly, he will have over 21 billion, which is just enough to save his older brother Yi Man. Plus, he can also make the dreams of his 3 younger brothers come true. Having gotten the method to make 10 billion, He Kang immediately ran to the prison to meet Yang Man and then promised to save his brother at all costs. Because he cannot live without this older brother. On the way back, He Kang remembered his younger days again. Back then his dad had passed away, so the debt paper also became meaningless. Yang Man burned that paper with his own hands and then told him to go out and be independent. But He Kang refused because he wanted to continue tagging along with his older brother. Arriving back at the apartment complex, suddenly there was a crowd of residents gathering noisily in one spot. It turns out there was a crazy arrogant guy causing trouble. He blatantly parked his car in the wrong spot, blocking everyone's way, and even screamed and argued loudly. He Kang found it an eyesore looking at it, so he immediately drove his car and crashed straight into his car, making the front of the car smoke. Just like that, he went crazy and rushed out to demand compensation. Right at that moment, Young-go appeared. He held a brick and wrote right on his car door before stepping out. He offered to pay the entire cost of fixing that car, because just by looking, you can tell this car looks fancy, but in reality, it is just a bought used car. Of course, if he wants to report it, go right ahead. Because Young-go has up to 12 lawyers, and all of them are very good at digging into other people's privacy. Just hearing a few threats, he got scared and ran away. After that, Young-go wanted to pay for all of Hae-kang's car repair costs because he helped him save a lot of time. Seeing him throwing money around like leaves, all the residents here clapped and cheered. The next day, because that guy was humiliated in front of everyone, he was bitter and went to slash Young-go's tires. After checking the dashcam, he decided to go play a round of golf. It turns out he caught that guy and then forced him to sit still to be a target for his practice. He was terrified because he found out he was just someone renting an apartment, while the owner of this whole apartment complex was actually Young-go. This way, he will probably be scared for the rest of his life and won't dare to say another word. As for Hae-kang and his subordinates who were struggling with the application form to be the block representative, the lizard watched and got so frustrated because it was just one application form. But they had been tinkering with it for several hours and still weren't done. He kept saying that nobody cares about this stuff, just write a few random lines and turn it in, but they wouldn't listen. Right after saying that, the four brothers continued to sit and discuss what their education level was, what positions they held, what their work experience was, and all sorts of other complicated procedures. In general, it was a huge headache. If they revealed their gangster identities, the residents would definitely be wary of them. So Hae-kang decided to write that he was just a normal person, wishing to help the apartment complex grow better and better. The lizard watched the four brothers take photos while eating instant noodles and grumbling, so he found it an eyesore. Right after finishing the form, Hae-kang immediately went to the apartment management office to submit the application, and while there, he took a look to see who his opponents were, only to find out that among the candidates, nobody lived alone. Not to mention that the block representatives and people holding high positions until now all had families, realizing that this was exactly the deciding factor. Because he himself didn't have this advantage, he might very likely fail if he didn't have a real family. Hae-kang immediately withdrew the application and ran back home to discuss it with his brothers. As soon as he got there, he pulled the lizard over to ask questions, ignoring the fact that he needed to use the bathroom so badly that he could barely hold it in anymore. He panicked and said a few random things before finally being let go. Hae-kang said, "A man living with 4 other men, dark and gloomy, with an unclear identity, nobody will vote for him." As soon as the family and marriage topic was mentioned, the subordinates immediately pulled out the wedding photo, taken the other day, and kept praising how good-looking the couple was. Hae-kang looked at it, laughed to himself, and then loudly declared that Ha was the wife of this house. Starting from today, as soon as he finished speaking, the whole group quickly found her workplace and her identity. At that exact moment, she was arguing with a pervert. He insisted that he didn't harass anyone at all, and just accidentally touched someone's thigh by mistake. They argued back and forth, but got nowhere, so she gave him a few slaps, making things even noisier. He was boiling with rage and about to hit her when Hae-kang appeared out of nowhere like a god, grabbed his hand tightly, and scared him so much he ran for his life. Just as he was about to meet and talk to Haji, the manager called her in to announce her termination. It was just because of the ridiculous reason that she didn't meet her KPI, even though her job was being a free consultant. She was extremely frustrated, but couldn't do anything besides sadly packing her things and leaving. While she was having a headache over being short on money, Hae-kang appeared right in front of her. After that, the two of them went to grab coffee, and then he asked her to be his wife for 3 months. At first, she got angry because she couldn't accept being hired with money made from illegal stuff. But after hearing the figure of 30 million won for the contract, she froze. That amount of money was enough to keep her from worrying for a while, even though her logic kept reminding her that she wasn't allowed to take money from this person. In the end, she still let out a very decisive final answer. That very answer made Ha feel regretful and extremely uneasy all evening. But every time she looked at the money in her account, she comforted herself that she only needed to act for 3 months. As for the lizard, Hae-kang asked him to play the role of his father for 3 months. In exchange, he would wipe out the debt and give him a way to survive. Because after all, he was currently a wanted man. Hearing such a great deal, his eyes lit up and he closed the deal immediately without hesitation. Then he even asked the child of one of the subordinates to play the role of his child. Because back in the countryside, the child didn't get a proper education. Moving here to live would allow him to attend an English kindergarten. After sorting out the family matters, the whole gang went together to take a 10th anniversary family photo set. At first, the way they stood was a bit weird, so the photographer had to rearrange them from the start. Everyone was a bit shy, but then they didn't care anymore because everyone was ready for their roles. While taking the photo, the boy suddenly kissed Ha on the cheek, which startled her. But it was thanks to that moment that the group got a family photo that looked extremely happy. After signing the contract to pretend to be a family, Hae Kang immediately took the whole group out to eat to build some bonds. But before they could even enjoy the food, the youngest brother's stomach growled so loudly that everyone at the table turned their heads to look at the same time. Instead of being embarrassed, he boldly declared that he was doing 16/8 intermittent fasting, so his stomach automatically rings like an alarm when it's time. That answer left everyone speechless, and Hae Kang took the chance to stand up and announce that from today on, the whole group would officially become a real family. He excitedly assigned roles, someone as the dad, someone as the mother, the son, uncle, aunt, younger brother. Everyone must remember them perfectly so they don't get caught. While Ha could only hold her forehead and sigh because she felt this was more like a comedy troupe than a family, the others were extremely excited, even standing up to clap as if a grand ceremony had just finished. After the meal, the whole group got in the car to go back to the apartment building. On the way, Hae Kang suddenly announced that starting tomorrow, Ha-ji would officially move in with him. Hearing this, before Ha could even react, the car stopped in front of the apartment gate, and her face immediately turned pale. It turned out this was exactly where her older sister worked. Panicking, she asked to stop the car right away and insisted on canceling the contract, because if her sister found out she was pretending to be someone else's wife, she would definitely be in big trouble. Hae Kang said she couldn't do that, which made her feel very awkward. She hurried out of the car and called her sister to check the situation. Luckily, her sister had just taken a leave of absence and wasn't at the office, making Ha breathe a sigh of relief like she had just escaped a disaster. Without letting her change her mind, Hae Kang immediately dragged the whole family to the apartment management office to file the application to run for block representative. As soon as he walked in, Hae Kang excitedly shook hands with the management manager like they were two old best friends. When asked who the people with him were, he immediately introduced them confidently as his happy family. He pointed at Ha-ji and bragged that this was the most beautiful wife in the apartment building, then introduced his well-behaved son, and then turned to the dad who used to be a painter and his younger brother, introducing them so smoothly that if you didn't know beforehand, anyone would think this was a model big family. He was extremely surprised when Hae Kang brought the whole family to submit the candidacy application, because normally everyone just registers online, and he had never seen a family drag everyone along like they were going to take a commemorative photo. Right at that moment, a woman with curly hair aggressively barged into the office to complain about the management fee. She kept questioning the management manager, saying that her house hadn't used the gym, the sauna, or the breakfast service for the whole month. But every month she still had to pay 2,001. Isn't that just ridiculous? The management manager patiently explained that this is a common maintenance fee that all residents have to pay. Right at that moment, she realized Hae Kang was the one who handled that troublemaking driver the other day, so she immediately switched to gossiping. She curiously asked him what he was doing here. Then, when she heard Hae Kang was running for block representative, her eyes lit up like she had just found some juicy gossip. She looked at the whole family from head to toe, and the more she watched, the weirder it felt. Because with her title as the eyes and ears of the apartment building, she claimed she had never seen this family appear before. The atmosphere became tense as she kept prying, but Hae Kang stayed calm and smiled, while Ha forced a smile until her face felt stiff because she was afraid that just one slip-up would blow their cover. After leaving the office, the whole group went to the park to rest, and Ha curiously asked why Hae Kang was so determined to be a block representative. Hae Kang immediately replied with full energy that being a block representative was just the beginning. His end goal was to become the apartment president. Ha-ji heard that and could only burst out laughing, asking if he really wanted to contribute or if he had another scheme. Hae Kang immediately denied it flatly, claiming he only wanted the apartment building to get better and better. But his sneaky expression made it so no one could believe him. When night came, Hae Kang received a call from the police chief, the one who was holding Dong Man. He asked for 3 more months to make the full 10 billion won, and demanded the other party keep the promise to set his older brother free. At the same time, a mysterious designated driver quietly approached the chief. No one suspected that this person was actually Hae Kang's guy planted there to spy. After investigating, he quickly reported the news that the person behind the scenes, controlling everything, didn't seem to be the chief but another mysterious power, signaling that Hae Kang's battle had only just truly begun. At the meeting room of the apartment management board, the meeting to prepare for the block representative election took place in an atmosphere that was both serious and full of irony. The apartment president started with a question. Since each block has exactly one candidate, shouldn't it be considered that they have already won? Why bother with an election and waste the effort? A few people immediately nodded in agreement, thinking that nowadays all residents are busy making a living, so no one has the energy to care about the apartment voting stuff. Someone else chimed in, saying that organizing a vote would only waste time, money, and manpower. But the president immediately changed his tone to a self-righteous one, asserting that even if there is only one candidate, they still have to follow the right procedure, because rules are rules. According to him, if you want a good society, you have to start from the smallest things, and even an apartment election must maintain the true spirit of democracy. Those high-sounding words made everyone in the room keep nodding in approval. Someone even took the chance to suck up, saying every word from the president was as deep as a life philosophy. Seeing everyone praise him, one person immediately asked if he would run for president again this time. Out loud, he humbly said he wasn't the type of person who is hungry for power, but a smirk just stayed on his face and wouldn't go down. You could tell he was as happy as a clam deep down. Right then, someone noticed the candidates from Block 4 and Block 6 were not there. The president explained that the candidate from Block 6 was just a young mother, and according to him, those young mothers are only good at gossiping, rather than contributing anything, so he didn't even bother to invite her. Everyone in the room could only give a forced smile. As for the candidate from Block 4, it was even more special. Even though he had applied long ago, for some reason he wasn't invited to the meeting. Meanwhile, at Hae Kang's house, they were busy getting ready for the campaign in a style like no other. The fake family started buying uniforms to dress alike. Hae Kang boldly planned to hand out business cards all over the apartment complex, dividing the work for each person like they were preparing to run for president. The VIP guest said he had been a manager for so many years and had never seen a sole candidate who still printed thousands of business cards. Hae Kang stayed cool, thinking that preparing too much doesn't hurt. Right then, Ha showed up and brought news that made the whole group freeze. It turns out that besides Hae Kang, there were two other candidates. The first one was exactly that curly-haired lady who went to the office to argue about the gym fee the other day. Hearing this, Hae Kang immediately turned to look at the management manager with a reproachful look, as if to ask, "Didn't you say no one would bother to do it?" The manager could only give a forced smile, because even he didn't expect the residents to be so enthusiastic this year. While Hae Kang was having a headache with his rivals, Ha had to deal with another mess. Since she was scared her sister would find out she was pretending to be someone else's wife, she decided to go big by buying a plane ticket to France for her sister. At first, her sister felt it was a waste of money and didn't want to go, but hearing from her younger sister that this was a chance to learn baking in France, she changed her mind right away. Ha put on a big smile and wished her sister a fun trip, but deep down, she just hoped her sister would stay there for a few months. She even mumbled, hoping her sister would just get married in France so she wouldn't have to come back. Right after seeing her sister off, Ha held her head because she suddenly remembered a very important question. 2 weeks from now, when her sister's leave is over, what excuse will she use to keep her from going to work? It's true that one lie leads to a dozen more lies to cover it up. On campaign day, Hae Kang's family continued to make the whole apartment complex burst out laughing. They even rented a truck and covered it with photos of Hae Kang from the front to the back. The loudspeakers were turned up to full volume, and the whole family wore uniforms while dancing, singing, and handing out flyers like they were holding a street festival. The loud music echoed throughout the residential area, making the residents not only lose interest, but also close their doors and pull their curtains shut at the same time. Anyone who just didn't know what was going thought it was a mobile insurance sales team. After a whole session of screaming until their throats were hoarse, the only result was that the whole group was exhausted, and they didn't get many more votes. Getting back home, Ha complained angrily that this was truly the biggest waste of time she had ever done. Not giving up, she started sitting down to analyze each candidate's profile like a real campaign expert. Candidate number 2 was disqualified by her right away for smoking in a non-smoking area. Candidate number 3 was also disqualified because they didn't have any outstanding contributions to the residents. When it was Hae Kang's turn, she asked a very simple question. If you become the block representative, what will you do for the apartment? Hae Kang froze for a few seconds and then honestly replied, "Let me figure it out as I go." The answer was so naive that Ha could only cover her face, sighing in frustration and then scolding him for not preparing anything yet daring to run for election. Right at that moment, an argument broke out right under the apartment lobby. A resident was angry because the package wasn't delivered to the door, but had to be picked up in person. The delivery person also got heated because the truck wasn't allowed to drive onto the grounds, and the vehicle was too tall to go down to the basement. Both sides went back and forth, and everyone thought they were right. The mothers were worried that traffic would be dangerous for small children, so they firmly banned delivery trucks from the area. The driver complained that if they modified the truck to fit in the basement, it would cost a fortune. In the middle of the chaos, He Kang accidentally saw an old lady struggling to pull a heavy rice bag and then slipping and falling down. He immediately ran over to help her up and carried the rice bag to her home for her. That exact moment gave him a great idea. He Kang looked at the scene where all the residents were struggling with receiving goods and immediately made a big announcement. "I will solve this." The very next day, he set up a goods reception counter right in front of the apartment lobby. All the residents' goods were collected there. He Kang himself and the fake family would personally bring them to each apartment. From morning to night, the whole group ran back and forth. Someone carried water crates, someone shouldered rice bags, and someone pulled carts. They were dripping with sweat. But the thank yous from the residents grew more and more every day. That image quickly helped He Kang score huge points. Meanwhile, the curly lady was also actively campaigning, but in a very typical way. Seeing the residents constantly praising He Kang for being enthusiastic about home delivery, she immediately stood in the middle of the yard and argued that whoever buys things should go get them themselves. Could they really deliver for people their whole lives? She also advised everyone not to believe He Kang's unrealistic promises and to be wise and vote for her. Too bad the more she talked, the more the residents quietly walked away, making her so mad she just stood there with her hands on her hips, watching them leave. At the same time, in another place, Director Lee was with Mayor Kim and a bunch of officials going fishing to discuss a new urban area project. They didn't catch a single fish the whole time, but the leaders still sat there eating and drinking very happily, which really ticked him off because they were just people who took money but couldn't get anything done. Director Lee suddenly grabbed a whole handful of raw fish, stuffed it straight into the mayor's mouth, and then squeezed chili sauce all over it, making everyone there freeze in shock. Everyone screamed in panic, asking if he was crazy. Director Lee immediately blew his top, scolding the officials right to their faces that their work was terrible and they let the projects slip away. But they were faster than anyone else at eating and drinking. The mayor still tried to act calm, saying that to do great things, you have to know how to sacrifice small interests for the big picture. Hearing the words big picture, Director Lee got even angrier, threw the chili sauce bottle at him, and growled, "What big picture? You guys only talk about the future while I'm living in the present." He yelled that they did a lousy job and were only good at eating and drinking. Not satisfied yet, he even pushed both the minister and the mayor into the river to sober them up and make them think. The two officials struggled in the water, constantly calling for help, while he just stood on the boat calmly eating fish like he was watching a circus show, then returning to the apartment. He Kang's delivery work ran into trouble again, when a tattooed thug kept cussing out and hitting the delivery staff just because they stood waiting for the elevator for too long. Two of He Kang's subordinates were so mad, their teeth were grinding, and they were about to rush in to handle it. But he stopped them because he was afraid it would affect the election. But the trouble didn't stop there. The next day, a bunch of residents reported that their goods were damaged, kimchi containers were broken, apples were stolen, and potatoes were crushed. The whole group immediately investigated and found out everything was linked to the house of candidate number 1. He Kang quickly understood the rival was using a smear tactic against him. The subordinates immediately suggested fighting fire with fire. Haji even came up with an even nastier move, spreading rumors that the rival faked their college degree. After hearing the plan, the whole group laughed mischievously, and then split up to create fake accounts to comment all over the resident forums. After just one night, the rumor spread throughout the apartment building, making the curly-haired lady run to the management office, crying to prove that she really did graduate from college. The management manager could only hold his head and sigh because he had never seen a block representative election as intense as a presidential election. That night, Haji accidentally witnessed the tattooed guy hitting an old security guard again. She was about to rush in to stop him, but He Kang pulled her back because he didn't want anything to affect the election. But after taking Haji home, He Kang quietly came back, walked up to block the thug, and demanded he apologize to the old man. That guy not only didn't apologize but even grabbed a shovel and rushed at him, intending to bash He Kang's head. Just waiting for that, He Kang leaned to the side to dodge the hit, and then threw a powerful kick straight into his face, making the guy fall flat on the ground. The fight looked as cool as an action movie. Ha watched from afar, her eyes sparkling, thinking her contract husband was really badass while fighting. Too bad the whole scene was recorded by 2 students and edited into a video of the block representative candidate assaulting a resident. The next day, as He Kang continued delivering packages, residents started whispering. Many people even refused to take his help. Just when the group fell into total despair, the election results were suddenly announced. The winner turned out to be He Kang. The whole group's eyes went wide, thinking they misheard. Right after that, the security chief posted the full video. It proved He Kang only stepped in to save the old security guard from the thug, who had assaulted the staff in the area many times. public opinion flipped instantly. The criticism turned into a bunch of praise in the comments. That night, He Kang sat in front of his computer, reading every compliment, grinning from ear to ear. He even replayed the scene of him throwing the kick that took down the thug over and over, nodding to himself in praise. Who knew he looked that handsome on screen? The whole room was filled with everyone's laughter, ending a rocky election journey full of both tears and smiles. 3 years ago, when director He Kang was the owner of a big company, a man came to his casino with a group of people. There, he got into a brawl with a Japanese group. They had a long-time grudge. The Japanese guy intentionally brought people to take him out today, but he wasn't scared at all. The two groups stood facing each other in the middle of the casino, eyes full of hostility, and finally rushed at each other to fight. He was quickly knocked down by the Japanese guy. Just as he was about to swing his sword for a strike, director He Kang appeared. He threw a button, making the Japanese guy's sword fly out. Immediately, he rushed into that group to keep dealing with them. He threw a punch straight at the opponent's face, making him stumble and crash hard into a table. The sounds of punching, kicking, screaming, and furniture crashing echoed throughout the casino. Soon, the Japanese group was beaten to a pulp and retreated in anger. The guest asked He Kang why he helped, and he just answered it was because he was his guest, and he couldn't just look the other way. Because of that, the two shook hands and became brothers. He even promised to help He Kang with all his might in the future. Since then, he became his VIP guest. Back to the present, the fake family is working together at the apartment. They are receiving goods and starting to deliver them to each unit. Here, He Kang also thanked Ha for helping him. He found out about her going to see the two kids who filmed his fight to give them a warning. She demanded they delete the video because what they did was against the law and could result in fines or jail time. Hearing her say that, they got scared and did as they were told. Next, she went to the security room from the other day, gave a USB to the guard and hoped he would post the truth to clear He Kang's name. At this time, Haji said she didn't have any hidden motive. She just wanted to tell the truth and also mentioned she didn't want things to fail before they even started. After saying that, the two continued working with smiles on their faces. Over at Director Lee's house, the TV reported that the new urban project was approved, making him comment that those guys finally got something done. Right then, the secretary came in to report that He Kang had become the block representative. Seeing someone else become a hero in his own living area, he was annoyed and called the apartment president, demanding that from now on, delivery trucks be allowed into the complex and to immediately shut down the package pickup service at the gate. Faced with Director Lee's demand, the president could only nod in agreement. Over here, after making a total mess in the kitchen, everyone finally had a table full of delicious food. They ate and drank happily together. At that moment, He Kang got a call from the apartment president saying that, from now on, there was no need to receive and deliver packages to doors anymore, because residents complained it ruined the look of the place, so delivery trucks would now go straight into the basement. He Kang was a bit surprised, but couldn't do anything else. He also informed everyone about this issue. Even though the plan to win over the residents with home delivery had to stop, the family still encouraged each other that at least their efforts over the past few days weren't in vain. The image of He Kang diligently carrying every package left a very good impression on many residents and helped his reputation spread throughout the apartment complex. The next day, to increase their visibility, this fake couple went for a walk around the apartment complex together. But Ha felt that wasn't effective at all. She came up with an idea using He Kang's existing fame. The two of them went to the coffee shop in the apartment complex, where the mothers always gather, and also a place that could help their reputation spread further. At the coffee shop, the mothers were congratulating the short-haired mom because she was elected as the block representative. They even said they would support her to become the apartment president, giving endless praise that made her both happy and a bit worried. Because last night, when her husband found out she was elected as block representative, he was furious, demanding she resign immediately and only wanting her to stay home instead of going out to do those useless things. At this time, He Kang also showed up there. His appearance caught the mother's attention. They quickly recognized him as the kicking hero and kept gushing over his handsome looks. He Kang also took the chance to go over and say hi, actively showing off. When Haji finished getting the water, He Kang didn't hesitate and called out loudly, "Honey!" making everyone green with envy. In front of everyone, the two of them were like a real pair of newlyweds. The mothers started asking about them, asking how long He Kang and Haji had been married, but their answers didn't match, making the atmosphere a bit awkward. Luckily, they quickly explained that Haji got it mixed up with their wedding registration date, so no one suspected anything else. After leaving the coffee shop, the two of them immediately agreed on basic info like when they met, where they fell in love, and memories to remember to avoid exposing any more slips. Then He Kang asked Haji to go pick up their fake son to show the image of a caring mother. while he went back home to prepare for the first apartment meeting. After picking up the boy, Ha played on the swings with him. In front of strangers, the boy kept praising his mom for being talented and beautiful, which made her feel a bit shy but very warm inside. Over here, Hae Kang showed up at the meeting in a very sharp suit. The meeting started with the secretary welcoming the new block representatives, then moved to the topic of electing a new president. He said nobody could do a better job than the current president, so he proposed that the man keep his position, then asked if anyone else wanted to run. Hae Kang raised his hand without any hesitation. His bold move immediately caused a stir in the room, and all eyes were on him. Even the current president was stunned for a moment, because he didn't expect someone would dare to openly challenge his position. The quiet atmosphere suddenly turned tense. Many block representatives started whispering, and the secretary clearly looked annoyed because his plan to re-elect the president suddenly hit an unexpected roadblock. In the president's office, his faction was arguing loudly about who would be president, making him feel extremely stressed. Meanwhile, Hae Kang and his gang started brainstorming. One person thought he should make some really attractive promises. Another said, just being handsome and famous is enough. Finally, Hae Kang made a very bold decision. If he ever gets involved in corruption while being the president, he will give his house away to the residents. His action left Haji totally confused, because he didn't have to go that far just to run for the apartment president position. Meanwhile, Hae Kang's candidacy notice caught Director Lee's eye, and from his expression, it was clear he wouldn't let this rival get away easily. The next morning, Hae Kang went to the trash collection area to help the residents clean up. His hard work made many residents like him more and more. Right at that moment, the curly-haired lady also brought her trash down. Hae Kang politely stepped up to help her carry the trash bags, but she coldly mocked him, claiming that everyone has hands and feet, so anyone could do that. You're just trying to put on a show to win over the residents before the election. Even though she was harsh, Hae Kang just stayed quiet and smiled, then went back to his work. In another scene, a representative from an environmental cleaning company came to see Director Lee. He hoped his company would get to renew the cleaning contract for the apartment complex. At first, the director acted indifferent, but as soon as he saw a gift bag placed on the table, his eyes changed instantly. He opened the bag and inside was a thick stack of cash. He quickly hid all the money in a drawer and said with a smile, "This is very simple. As long as the company keeps cooperating well, everything will be taken care of." While waiting for the president to sign the papers, the employee accidentally saw Hae Kang's candidacy profile on the table. He was stunned when he realized this person was the big boss of a gang he had heard of before. That discovery was like hitting the jackpot for Director Lee, because he finally found the weakness to take down his rival. After a tiring day at work, Hae Kang just got home when he received a phone call announcing an emergency meeting for the block representatives. At the same time, the loudspeaker in the apartment complex also announced that the meeting would be broadcast live for all residents to watch. Soon, all the block representatives were there, and the residents sat in front of their screens to watch. At the start of the meeting, the secretary said there was some extremely important information to announce. Right after that, Director Lee stepped up with a mocking tone, declaring that among the block representatives, there was one person who lied about their work experience. And that person was the Block 4 representative, Hae Kang. He didn't stop there and loudly questioned, "Were you once a gangster?" That question made the whole hall immediately buzz. Dozens of eyes turned toward Hae Kang, and the residents watching through the screens were also extremely shocked. His fake family's faces turned pale with fear, and the secretary immediately asked everyone to keep order and then invited Hae Kang to stand up and explain. However, just as he was about to speak, someone suddenly pulled the livestream connection cable. The sound and image disappeared instantly, leaving Hae Kang with no chance to say anything more. The meeting ended with everyone in shock while Director Lee had a triumphant smile. Back in the office, Director Lee's faction was very excited. They laughed and talked loudly. Surely after this hit, Hae Kang will have to automatically withdraw from the election. Meanwhile, Hae Kang went home and was angrily scolded by Ha. She kept questioning why he didn't argue back or deny it right in front of everyone back then. According to Haji, even if he was once a gangster, there is no law that forbids running for apartment president. Her fierce defense left the whole family stunned. The next morning, when Hae Kang stepped into the elevator, the atmosphere became very awkward. The residents who just saw him quietly stepped outside. Some even chose to take the stairs rather than stand with a mob boss. In just one night, the friendly looks from before turned into caution and distance. Rumors spread like wildfire throughout the complex, making the image Hae Kang worked so hard to build almost completely collapse. At the coffee shop, the moms in the apartment complex were still sitting and gossiping loudly about Hae Kang's story. Some people insisted that he was originally a gangster, so he didn't deserve to be the president. Others thought that the good things he had done until now were just an act to win over the residents. Right then, Ha walked into the shop and accidentally heard the whole story. She could only sigh and remark that public opinion is truly a scary thing. After that, she politely asked to sit down at the mother's table. At first, everyone thought she was a victim tricked by He Kang, so they kept comforting her, and even joined in calling him a scammer, a gangster disguised as a good person. Unexpectedly, Haji calmly stood up to protect He Kang. She insisted that he is a wonderful husband, hardworking, talented, always loves his family, and is handsome too. So she hoped everyone wouldn't keep bad-mouthing her husband anymore. Those firm words made the whole coffee shop go silent for a moment. But right after that, the mothers looked at Ha with pity, thinking she had been brainwashed by He Kang to the point where she couldn't tell right from wrong anymore. Someone even shook their head and said she was so pitiful. Someone else sighed, saying that birds of a feather flock together. Stepping out of the shop, Haji suddenly stopped and wondered why she recklessly stood up to defend He Kang like that. After all, they are just a fake couple, and everything was just an act, but when she heard others talk bad about him, she couldn't just ignore it. Meanwhile, He Kang still went to the scrap collection area to help everyone as usual. However, unlike the days before, the workers all quietly avoided him. Some people, as soon as they saw him coming, found an excuse to go somewhere else, and the rest just bowed their heads to work without daring to start a conversation. That cold atmosphere made He Kang extremely depressed. He had to sit down on a nearby chair, quietly watching everyone work. Right at that moment, the curly lady came closer and suddenly said something mysterious. "If you make others shed tears, sooner or later you yourself will have to cry." That confusing sentence made He Kang immediately ask her about it. He thought she was hinting at him being framed before, so he asked directly if she was the one who spread the rumor that he faked his degree, because his honors degree was completely real. Not wanting to back down, He Kang also questioned her back about how she had smeared him during deliveries. Hearing that, the curly-haired lady just gave a faint smile and said, "If you want to beat the current president, don't just look at the rumors. He has a whole faction backing him up, and has been secretly stealing a lot of money from the residents for many years." After saying that, she pulled He Kang to join a protest against the management board's project. After everything finished, the whole group went out to eat together. He Kang still didn't understand why he had to sit here with strangers, but he didn't expect that very conversation would help him discover an extremely important secret. While eating, one person in the group suddenly asked if protesting like this would actually bring any results. Another person laughed and replied, "Definitely not." "So then why do we still have to protest?" That person joked while picking up food that at least everyone has an excuse to get together and eat. The whole table burst out laughing. Right at that moment, an elderly woman spoke up and said there is only one way to make the new urban project stop, which is that an artifact must be dug up at the construction site. She told that many years ago during the construction of a train route, workers once discovered a precious artifact underground, so the entire project was forced to stop for archaeology. Hearing this, He Kang's eyes immediately lit up like he had just found gold. He hurriedly stood up, ran straight home, and immediately called 2 trusted subordinates to order them to go to Japan that very night. Arriving in Japan, the 2 were welcomed very luxuriously and then taken to a large villa. There they met the VIP guest they had known from 2 years ago, the boss Tara. The 2 subordinates quickly connected the phone so He Kang could talk to him directly. He Kang started by saying that this time he has an extremely important matter, and if he doesn't get help, he fears his life might be hard to keep. Tara laughed and replied that as long as He Kang opens his mouth, he will fulfill anything he can do. Without beating around the bush, He Kang said straight out that he wants to borrow a Korean artifact. Hearing that, Tara casually grabbed an antique vase sitting by the table and held it up to the camera. He Kang just took one look and immediately shook his head, asserting that it was just a fake. The answer made Tara laugh loudly, praising He Kang for being a brother who really knows antiques. He then stood up and went inside. A few minutes later, Tara came back with another vase, carefully wrapped in a wooden box, with both hands wearing white gloves to avoid damaging the artifact. Just looking at how he cherished the item was enough to understand how great its value was. After confirming this was the real artifact He Kang needed, Tara handed it to He Kang's 2 subordinates and saw them off. The next morning, the curly-haired lady went to the trash sorting area as usual, but she didn't see He Kang anywhere. However, just as she stepped out of the gate, she was extremely surprised to see He Kang appearing with a large number of people, no longer alone like before. This time he brought dozens of people to join the protest against the new urban project. The crowd spirit was extremely lively. Everyone brought banners and flags and constantly shouted protest slogans. The atmosphere quickly became bustling, as everyone marched together to the empty lot where the project was being prepared. After shouting slogans for a while, the whole group stopped to rest, eat, and talk. While everyone was not paying attention, He Kang quietly walked to a corner of the empty ground and paced back and forth as if he was observing something. Suddenly, he pretended to trip and cried out loudly that it seemed like his foot had just stepped on something hard. The curly-haired lady also curiously approached, using her hand to brush away the top layer of soil and suddenly touched the mouth of an antique vase. The deeper they dug, the more the vase's shape was revealed, making everyone unable to hide their amazement. The crowd immediately cheered because they believed they had just discovered an extremely precious artifact. The curly-haired lady was so excited that she kept asking everyone to call the TV station and the authorities right away. Because she knew clearly that as long as this place really had an artifact, the whole area would be archaeologically preserved. That meant the value of the surrounding apartment buildings would skyrocket. Nobody knew that all of this was part of the plan that He Kang had prepared beforehand. The night before, after the two subordinates successfully brought the artifact from Japan to South Korea, He Kang secretly went with them to the empty lot in the middle of the night. The whole group dug many holes in different locations, and then carefully buried the vase to create a fake scene, as if the artifact had been underground for a long time. This was the final card that He Kang decided to bet on to turn the whole situation around. His plan quickly took effect when just a few hours later, information about discovering the artifact appeared heavily across all newspapers and TV news. Reporters, archaeology experts, and people from all over poured into the scene. Public opinion immediately flipped. The person who was once seen as a gangster was now praised as a hero because he was the one who found the artifact, helping to make the value of the apartment building increase many times over. Thousands of people rushed to find homes to buy in this area because they believed it was about to become a development hotspot. In contrast to the residents' joy, the new urban area project that Director Lee and the director had spent so much effort preparing was forced to stop indefinitely for archaeological work. When he received the news, Director Lee was so angry that his eyes turned bloodshot and his face was full of murderous intent. He crazily threw every object in the room and even smashed the jigsaw puzzle that he had just spent a lot of effort finishing. All that effort and money invested in the project suddenly vanished into thin air, just because an antique vase appeared at the right time. Meanwhile, the apartment president also started to panic because he knew his seat was shaking violently. The henchmen kept gossiping that since finding the artifact, He Kang had become a hero in the eyes of the residents. Now everyone only mentioned his contribution, and almost forgot the fact that he used to be a gangster. Those words were like knives cutting into the president's heart. He went crazy, shouting and then kicking all of his subordinates out of the room. When he was all alone, his legs trembled with fear because he understood that failure was very close. At the same time, in He Kang's apartment, the whole fake family gathered in front of the TV screen to follow news reports that kept praising him. Everyone had a satisfied smile because the plan finally went exactly as planned. The next morning, the day for the official apartment president election took place. From very early on, thousands of residents were present to cast their votes. A tense atmosphere covered the whole area as everyone nervously waited for the results. Right at 6 p.m., the organizers started announcing the winner. In the apartment, He Kang's whole family held their breath and watched. Everyone burst into joy when He Kang's name was announced as the new apartment president. Cheers rang out everywhere, and residents kept congratulating the hero who just helped the apartment complex change his life. Haji was so moved that she burst out laughing through her tears. Even though at first she only saw this marriage as fake, now she really felt happy witnessing He Kang achieve results after all that effort. But that joy was quickly contrasted with the gloomy scene in the former president's office. When he returned, Director Lee was already sitting and waiting. No longer keeping his polite look like before, he coldly questioned why money was taken, but in the end, there was still a failure against a gangster like He Kang. His anger exploded. He grabbed the apartment president nameplate and repeatedly smashed it hard against his head, blood splattering all over the room, staining his clothes and face red. Outside, the manager just stood there frozen, hearing the painful cries for help echoing out, but he didn't dare step in to stop it. After letting all his anger out, the director calmly wiped the blood and stepped outside as if nothing had happened. By coincidence, right at the door, he ran into He Kang again. Even though there were still bloodstains on the other guy that hadn't been wiped clean yet, He Kang just took a quick look and smiled, reaching out his hand for a handshake, happily accepting the congratulations from the director. Both acted polite, but the atmosphere was extremely tense. Just from the look in his eyes and the leftover bloodstains on that man's suit, He Kang had a feeling that this was not just a normal businessman. Behind that calm look was someone extremely dangerous, even scarier than the apartment president who was just defeated. This meeting probably signals an even more fierce confrontation waiting ahead. After winning the apartment president position, He Kang and his group of friends immediately threw a huge celebration party. Everyone was super excited because the plan finally succeeded beyond expectations. In that lively atmosphere, Ha asked everyone for permission to stand up and say a few words. She shared that many people have ended up on TV for abusing the apartment president position to steal funds, colluding with contractors they knew, and then leaving projects unfinished, causing a lot of damage to the residents. So, she hoped Hae-kang would do a good job in his role and never appear on TV for reasons like those cases. After saying that, Ha-ji invited everyone to finish their drinks together. But only the fake son raised his glass in response, while the whole group sitting below was frozen for a few seconds because her words were like hitting their soft spot. Because the biggest goal that made the whole group work hard to get Hae-kang to be the president was actually to make money off the residents. Seeing no one respond, Ha kept smiling and said that Hae-kang had worked hard to set up a whole fake marriage and finally achieved his dream of becoming the president. So from now on, he should work hard. At this moment, everyone snapped out of it and raised their glasses to congratulate him with forced laughter. The party after that still went on very happily. Everyone felt that today's meal was way better after so many days of working hard and running around for the election. Only Hae-kang was still quietly remembering meeting that director Lee guy earlier. The image of the remaining bloodstains on his hands and face kept making him wonder what on earth happened to the guy. However, for Hae-kang right now, the most important thing was still to quickly earn enough 10 billion won to get Dongman out safely. The next morning, Director Lee went to the company with a very hurried face. As soon as he walked in, he immediately ran straight to his office, turned on a new song, and started singing terribly with a cold face and zero emotion. The secretary could only stand by helplessly listening to the weird sounds coming from their strange director. Right at that moment, 3 other directors also rushed in. Seeing Director Lee singing passionately, they felt even more scared inside. Suddenly, Lee turned to ask Director Du if they had conducted an archaeological survey before starting construction, then growled, "You're really driving me crazy." He turned to Director Choi again and asked how much the bank interest would be while the project was stalled. Director Choi replied tremblingly, "That will be a huge amount of money." After hearing that, Lee got even more furious and immediately ordered all 3 of them to put their heads on the table. The 3 directors were so scared they were shaking, but they could only bite their ties and slowly bow their heads to do as told. Lee held the microphone and repeatedly smashed it hard against the table, creating ear-piercing noises that terrified all 3 of them. After letting out his anger, he calmly picked up the mic to keep going with his passion for singing as if nothing had happened. Right then, Director Jang spoke up and said that if they can't prove the recently found artifact is fake, there's no way the new urban project can continue construction. Hearing this, Director Lee seemed to have immediately thought of a new plan. On the other side, Ha-ji also confessed to her best friend that she signed a contract to be Hae-kang's fake wife. After hearing that, the friend was so shocked her jaw dropped and she immediately scolded her. "Ha-ji, you're such an idiot. Accepting such a crazy thing just because you're short on money? Don't you want to keep being a lawyer anymore?" Ha calmly explained that after the contract ends, she will use the money she gets to go back to school and keep following her dream. But the friend still kept wondering why Hae-kang was willing to spend a big amount of money just to hire someone to play his wife to win the apartment president position. She even told a story about someone she knew who, after becoming the president, constantly stole from the funds, bought a new house, and even got a luxury car. Hearing her friend say that, Ha-ji immediately said loudly that Hae-kang isn't that kind of person. Her own strong reaction even startled her. That night, Ha kept remembering the image of Hae-kang taking down the tattooed guy all by himself in the security room. Those thoughts made her toss and turn so much she couldn't sleep. The next morning, Ha-ji came to Hae-kang's house as usual. She saw Hae-kang sitting there calmly sipping tea and refusing to eat breakfast with everyone. Ha-ji immediately walked over, gently took the teacup from his hand, and asked him to sit down and eat. She took the initiative to ladle the seaweed soup, set out the bowl and chopsticks, and put them in front of Hae-kang, making the whole family wide-eyed in surprise. Hae-kang could only follow along, took a spoonful of soup, and praised the flavor as being very good. The chubby brother standing in the kitchen saw that Hae-kang finally agreed to eat the dish he cooked, and he was so moved that tears came to his eyes. He immediately scooped a mountain-high bowl of rice for him, which made even Ha stunned. The next day, at the apartment management office, dozens of congratulatory flower pots were constantly sent to welcome the new president. Maybe the residents here had been waiting for this day of change for a very long time. The management staff all seemed extremely happy and were looking forward to a new beginning for the apartment complex. However, the manager himself didn't think that way. He still hadn't forgotten the terrible rage of Director Lee that he saw with his own eyes the night before when he took out his anger on the former president. He quietly warned everyone that he feared the coming time would no longer be peaceful. Meanwhile, the whole group was also busy getting ready to take Hae-kang to the office to take his position. But Ha-ji thought she didn't need to go along because she would cheer him on in a more special way. Right then, Hae-kang walked out of the room in an elegant and fancy suit, making Ha-ji instinctively freeze, her eyes unable to leave him. The 5 men in the family escorted Hae-kang to the office, while Ha stood from a high floor and suddenly shouted out loud to congratulate her husband, making everyone around look up. It turns out this was the way of cheering she had talked about. It really was because of the contract money. This young girl was willing to set aside all her embarrassment. When He Kang's family arrived at the management office, the manager was outwardly welcoming to the new president. But deep in his eyes, he was full of annoyance and caution. Maybe this very person will become the first obstacle, as well as the biggest challenge that He Kang has to overcome if he wants to get closer to the goal of earning the full 10 billion won. At this moment, the manager brought He Kang into the office to officially hand over the apartment president's duties. With a welcoming face but a heart full of schemes, he handed He Kang all the compiled documents, including management records, books, bank accounts of the board, and especially the seal, the most important power tool for a president. When he held the seal in his hand, He Kang could hardly hide his excitement. In his eyes right now, it was like the key that opened the door to that 10 billion that he always craved. The three subordinates standing behind were just as happy. The four of them looked at each other and then hugged tightly in an indescribable happiness. Seeing their overly excited reaction, the manager couldn't help but be surprised and asked He Kang if there was something wrong. He Kang immediately regained his composure, gave a forced smile, and replied that it was nothing. Hearing that, the manager didn't suspect further but only informed He Kang that today he would have to join a meeting with all the contractors of the apartment complex, hoping he would prepare to attend as the new president. After saying that, he turned and left the office. As soon as the door closed, the four of them immediately couldn't hold it back anymore and burst into a loud, delighted laugh. They quickly gathered to discuss the next plan. Since the amount of money needed was huge, He Kang decided to go to the bank the next morning to withdraw all of it. He assigned the tasks very clearly. One person prepares a really big bag to hold the money, one person goes home to pack up all the stuff. The remaining person finds a chance to take the manager's seal, but they suddenly realized that the seal was left lying around on the manager's desk, so taking it would be too easy. After withdrawing the money, the whole group would immediately disappear from this place before anyone could find out. Just thinking about that vision, the four of them laughed until they doubled over because they thought their plan was almost 99% successful. Right at that moment, the office door suddenly opened. The curly-haired lady walked in, making the whole group jump, quickly changing their expressions. It turned out she only came to congratulate He Kang on officially becoming the new president of the apartment. The curly-haired lady also brought a very large gift that made everyone curious. After opening it, they all saw that it was a giant nameplate that the residents in the apartment complex had pooled their money to make for the new president as a congratulation and a token of their hope. After giving the gift, the curly-haired lady was even more excited, constantly singing and then dancing right in the office, making all four of them freeze, not knowing whether to laugh or cry at her overenthusiasm. Meanwhile, in another place, the former president was secretly meeting with his close associates to find a way to kick He Kang out of the president's chair as soon as possible, because more than anyone, they understood that if He Kang continued to sit in that position, a series of dark secrets from the past would soon be exposed. For many years, they had used their power for personal gain, embezzling apartment funds and committing many wrongdoings. If all of it were investigated, the whole group would surely pay a high price. Back at the president's office, the curly-haired lady suddenly made a very serious offer. She wanted to become He Kang's civil secretary to support him in handling all matters related to the families in the apartment complex. In her view, many politicians lose their careers just because of troubles starting from their families. Therefore, she believed that as long as those things were managed well, He Kang would avoid countless problems. This unexpected request left everyone dazed. The funny thing was she didn't even wait for him to agree but declared on her own that from today, she would officially take the position of the president's civil secretary. Right at that moment, the manager came back to invite He Kang to attend the meeting with the contractors. Before he could even react, the curly-haired lady quickly walked ahead as if she was the one with the power to decide. He Kang stood there dazed for a few seconds before regaining his composure, telling himself that he only needed to put up with all these weird things for just today. Tomorrow, after getting the money, everything would be over. Thinking that, he quickly grabbed the jacket the lady forgot and ran after her. Finally, they were in front of the meeting room. The curly-haired lady still kept a very serious manner, walking ahead like a professional assistant, making even the manager follow timidly. When walking inside, the number of contractors was larger than imagined, making He Kang quite overwhelmed. However, he quickly regained his composure, gave a friendly smile, then bowed to everyone, introducing himself as the new president of the apartment complex and hoping everyone would help him in the coming time. A contractor representative immediately stepped forward to hand He Kang the membership list of the Merchants Association, while also saying that as long as he introduced himself as the apartment president, most services would be free as a special privilege for this position. He Kang asked in surprise why that was the case, and the other guy just smiled and replied it was a small perk for the president. However, the curly-haired lady immediately snatched the book and solemnly declared that their president would absolutely not take any form of bribery. After that, she also introduced herself as the president's civil secretary and spoke on behalf of He Kang to all the contractors, asking them to please take back all the gifts and perks because the new president would work transparently and fairly without taking any personal benefits. Hearing that, all the contractors quickly put away the gifts they had prepared and then bowed together to the new president with a very respectful attitude. While Haekong was still surprised, over at the new urban project area, Director Lee was also quietly carrying out his own plan. He brought a large gift bag full of cash to meet the antique appraisal expert, hoping this guy would declare all the artifacts found at the site were fakes. But contrary to his expectations, the expert calmly replied that these artifacts naturally couldn't have appeared in the same place like that. At first, that answer made Director Lee very happy because he thought the other guy understood what he meant. He laughed out loud and said, "I only gave a small hint and you understood everything. Just do exactly what we talked about." But the archaeologist immediately explained that he wasn't speaking according to Lee's wishes, but was basing it on scientific evidence. According to his analysis, the layers of soil on the artifacts were completely different, and the dates of each item weren't the same either. All of them being in one spot was almost impossible, unless someone intentionally brought them there and buried them to create a fake scene. That exact conclusion made Director Lee's face change color instantly. Even though he forced a smile, he still coldly said that if he found out who was behind this, that person would definitely not survive. Right at that moment, at the police office, the police chief suddenly received a phone call. The caller was none other than Director Lee. He immediately asked if the secretary had called him yet. On the stage of a kindergarten, Ha-ji's fake son burst into tears while performing, which surprised everyone. The teacher was very worried, so she called Ha-ji right away. The thing was, Ha-ji was so used to being a stand-in that when she heard the teacher ask if she was Bum's mother, she thought it was a wrong number. Only a few seconds later did Ha-ji realize that during this time, she actually was the boy's mother. Meanwhile, at the president's office, Haekong was still having a headache dealing with a mountain of work while the curly-haired lady kept pushing him and taking care of him bit by bit, even giving him supplements and making him drink them because she was worried the work was too hard. Right then, Ha-ji rushed in to report some big news, which startled everyone. The lady immediately reminded her that there were many eyes and ears around, so Ha-ji had to be careful with how she addressed him. From the familiar name Haekong, Ha-ji immediately switched to calling him Honey, and Haekong also naturally cooperated, creating a back and forth that was both funny and cute. When he found out that Bum was participating in a sports day today but neither dad nor mom was there, Haekong remembered that in the morning the boy wanted to say something to him, but then stopped. That exact moment made him feel guilty. Instead of continuing with his work, Haekong decided to go to the kindergarten with Ha-ji. At first, the curly-haired lady objected because she thought the president must put major affairs first. But Haekong quickly realized this was a great opportunity to build the image of a model father in the eyes of the residents, which would further solidify his position as the apartment president. When the hall doors opened, Haekong and Ha-ji appeared in matching outfits, catching the attention of the whole schoolyard. Bum immediately jumped off the stage and ran fast toward the two of them with a bright smile after being sad for a long time. Just that one moment was enough to make all of Haekong and Ha-ji's efforts feel worth it. The sports day that followed was very lively. Haekong showed off his agility and skill in the physical games, making a bunch of the mothers there unable to hide their admiring looks. Ha-ji was also not one to be outdone, as she kept winning in the competitions for female parents. The climax was the family race. The three of them worked perfectly together and were always in the lead. Unfortunately, as they were near the finish line, Ha-ji accidentally tripped and fell on Haekong, creating an unexpected romantic moment that even made the secretary blush. The two of them looked at each other sheepishly while Bum, caught in the middle, could only cry out, "Help me?" turning the touching scene into a funny situation. Even though they lost the first place spot, the family of three didn't give up and crossed the finish line together in second place while everyone cheered. The emotional build-up continued as Bum went to the prize area. Instead of picking an expensive gift like beef or toys, the boy quietly picked up a hair roller, which surprised both Haekong and Ha-ji. Bum's reason moved everyone even more when he said that on TV all the moms have hair rollers, but Mom Ha-ji doesn't have one yet, so he wanted to take that gift home for her. Such a naive thought, yet full of sincere love, made all the parents praise Bum as a very filial boy. Ha-ji herself didn't expect this fake son to have so much affection for her. After the sports day, Ha-ji happily brought the hair roller home and excitedly tried curling her hair, asking Haekong if she looked pretty. Haekong just gave a light smile, making the atmosphere very warm. But that joy was quickly put out when Haekong got a text from the chubby younger brother. Everything was ready, and the house was cleared out to be ready to leave after the plan was finished. At this time, Haekong also told Ha-ji that she didn't need to come to work tomorrow and that he would pay her the full amount as promised. That sudden decision left Ha-ji stunned. She tried to find a reason to stay, even wanting to go up to the room to get her purse, but Haekong stopped her, promising to send it later, and then pushed taxi money into her hand. Without a chance to say another word, Ha-ji could only stand there silently watching Haekong close the door. The feeling of being let down made her take the hair roller to a bar to talk to her best friend. Ha-ji laughed bitterly because she didn't understand why Hei Kang's attitude turned so cold after just one night. Even though her best friend reminded her that this was just a contract to fake being a family, Ha-ji still couldn't accept it because the time they spent together had made her heart truly flutter. Meanwhile, back at Hei Kang's house, the atmosphere wasn't happy at all. He quietly looked at the family photo and then observed the empty house after all the furniture had been cleared out. The two brothers returned one by one. The Glasses brothers successfully got the manager's seal, completing the final link in the plan to leave. When asked about Ha-ji, Hei Kang coldly replied that he had handled it and no one should worry about it anymore. That answer left the chubby brother stunned because he didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to his sister-in-law Ha-ji for the last time. That night, Hei Kang unexpectedly stepped into the fake dad's room. Just seeing Hei Kang using polite honorifics made the old man's face turn pale with fear. He hurriedly knelt down because he thought he had committed some serious mistake. He kept begging for his life, which only made Hei Kang laugh softly and tell him to sit down calmly. After living under the same roof for a while, Hei Kang no longer saw him as a stranger. He sincerely said he would wipe out all the gambling debts the man was carrying and would withdraw some money the next morning to give him to start a new life. Hearing that, the old man was extremely shocked and immediately refused because he thought just being allowed to live in Hei Kang's house for so long was already enough. Hei Kang still firmly advised him to live an honest life from now on, and also warned him that if he heard news of him getting involved in gambling again, he would take his wrist. After Hei Kang left, the man quietly pulled out the photo from under the mattress, the one that helped Hei Kang campaign for the apartment president position. Tears rolled down as if he finally felt what a real family was like. The next morning, the whole group gathered to get ready to leave. Bum's dad announced that he had found a safe island to take refuge, and the old man was also dropped off from the car first. Hei Kang confidently walked into the bank with a big bag in hand, bringing the seal and the savings book of the apartment maintenance fund to withdraw the entire amount of over 17 billion, one that he was sure was in the account. He even took the chance to introduce himself as the apartment president and explained that he needed the money to replace all the elevators in the building. However, after checking, the female bank teller only brought out 2 bills and a few coins for him, with a total amount of exactly 2,530. Hei Kang stood there frozen, thinking he misheard, so he kept running to other banks. The results weren't any better. One place only had over 7,000, another over 4,000, and another place only a few thousand won. After running to all the banks, the amount of money he collected wasn't even 30,000. All that hope suddenly vanished into thin air. In despair, Hei Kang threw the bag and all the money to the ground and screamed in pain. He couldn't believe the long-term maintenance fund worth 17,571,420 had evaporated without a trace, even though he had risked his life to fight for the block representative and then president positions just to get that money. Realizing that the matter wasn't simple, the whole group immediately took the old man to the rooftop to interrogate him. Hei Kang angrily questioned him about the missing money. The old man insisted that he clearly heard there were over 17 billion in the account before. According to his guess, only 3 people were capable of embezzling that huge amount of money: the former president, the management manager, and the accountant. Hearing this, Hei Kang immediately realized he had gone in the wrong direction. He planned to tie the old man up, but he kept begging, asserting that he was an expert on maintenance funds and without him, they wouldn't be able to trace the stolen money. After discussing for a while, the whole group decided to keep investigating the 3 suspects, and Hei Kang had to maintain his identity as the president to easily gather evidence. This also meant the fake family play still had to continue. Meanwhile, Ha-ji was still working hard studying law to prepare for the exam. Occasionally remembering being fired for no reason, she blamed herself for not being calm enough at the time to cite Article 23 of the Labor Standards Act to protect her rights. She told herself she had to study harder so that no one would bully her anymore. Right then, seeing the hair roller bum gave her on her head, Ha-ji was about to pull it down because she remembered Hei Kang, but then she smiled because that gift was the boy's sincere affection. Suddenly, Ha-ji received a text from Hei Kang saying he had brought the purse and was standing in front of her house gate. She hurried down, not forgetting to mock him by asking if the president had now turned into a delivery driver. Hei Kang bowed politely, which made Ha-ji feel even more weird. After a few jokes, Ha-ji immediately used the legal knowledge she just learned to question him about firing her without a good reason. This time Hei Kang didn't dodge but frankly admitted he had been thoughtless. He sincerely apologized for hurting her and then suggested inviting Ha-ji back to work for 2 more weeks as per the original contract. At first, Ha-ji was still angry, asserting that she needed a sincere apology, not money. When Hei Kang bowed to apologize again with all seriousness, Ha-ji finally softened. She agreed to come back to work for 2 more weeks. Over here, Director Lee's secretary collected all the security camera footage at the new urban area and discovered a car appearing unusually in many spots. After verifying the car owner, he determined it was Hei Kang and immediately guessed that Hei Kang had buried the artifact to make house prices rise, thereby winning the apartment president position. Meanwhile, Hei Kang calmly went to the management office to work as usual, and cleverly questioned the manager about the process of using the maintenance fund. Through the conversation, he learned that to release funds, there must be enough seals from the president, the manager, and the chief accountant Ha-dong, who was on leave and about to return. Over on this side, the fake dad was scolded by the whole group again for secretly taking Bum's piggy bank to go gambling. And Bum's dad was angry and threatened to give him a beating. Right then, the curly-haired lady accidentally overheard the conversation. But she misunderstood that the family was just teaching the gambling-addicted father a lesson, so she didn't suspect anything more. The next day, at school, Bum was given candy and a confession by a girl, but the boy innocently refused because he only liked his mother Ha-ji. Ha-ji went to pick up Bum, awkwardly telling him to just call her sister, when no one was around because she still wasn't used to the role of a mother. She didn't realize the curly lady overheard those words. After that, Ha-ji even accidentally ran into her older sister right in front of the apartment. Right at that moment, Bum called her mom, which left her sister completely shocked, and Ha-ji was flustered, not knowing how to explain it. Meanwhile, the apartment elevator kept breaking down, and Director Lee had completely determined that Hae Kong was the one behind everything. The climax came when Ha-ji suddenly told Hae Kong that she couldn't continue working starting tomorrow. Hae Kong tried to get her to stay, but Ha-ji felt the fake family contract no longer had any meaning since he had already become the president. Right as the two mentioned the fake family, the curly lady standing outside the door overheard the whole truth, crying out in shock that it turns out everything was just a fake family, making both Hae Kong and Ha-ji go completely silent at the same time. As the secret of Hae Kong and Ha-ji's fake family was on the verge of being fully exposed, everything started when the curly lady suddenly opened the door and walked in just as Hae Kong and Ha-ji were talking about the fake family contract. Just the single sentence, "Our family is only fake," was enough to make her stand frozen. Then she kept repeating it in amazement. "So you guys are a fake family?" Then she burst out laughing as if she couldn't believe what she just heard. All the questions she had for so long were immediately answered in her head. From the story about the son daring to cut off his dad's hand for being a gambling addict to the fact that Ha-ji always made Bum call her sister in deserted places, everything now made sense. She even mocked that she used to think this family was too weird and uncultured, but it turns out it was all just an act. Although Hae Kong and Ha-ji kept explaining that she had misheard, and even coordinated their acting right on the spot. Ha-ji sweetly called him honey. Hae Kong also played along, but the curly lady was not convinced at all. She asserted that she heard the truth clearly with her own ears, repeatedly questioning Hae Kong on why he had to set up a fake family to run for president and what his ultimate scheme was. Finally, she declared she would immediately post the whole story on the apartment forum so the residents would know his true face and demanded that Hae Kong resign immediately. Right when she was about to leave, she ran into the exact situation where the elevator was under maintenance, so she angrily cussed up a storm because she felt like something was happening in this apartment building every single day. As soon as she left, Hae Kong and Ha-ji panicked and ran straight home to tell the news to the whole group. Knowing the curly lady was about to go public with everything online, everyone immediately split up to take action to stop her at all costs. First, the Glasses brother used a signal jammer, making the Wi-Fi in the lady's house completely lose connection. Unable to post, she rushed out to the elevator to find a place with a signal, but she was blocked right at the elevator door by Bum's dad. Even though his face was in pain from straining to hold the door, he was still determined not to let her go out of frustration. She switched to the stairs, but the chubby brother was already blocking the emergency exit, so she couldn't get out at all. Being blocked by the whole group over and over, she was mad enough to lose it, constantly complaining that this was the weirdest apartment building she had ever lived in. In another scene, Ha-ji took the chance to meet her sister to explain the misunderstandings from the other day. She made an excuse that she just took a babysitting job for a client of the law firm, which was why the boy called her mom. Even though she was still a bit skeptical, the sister finally accepted the explanation for now. Seeing her younger sister having to study law while working all sorts of jobs to make a living, the sister felt really bad for her. As for Ha-ji, she just gave a forced smile and said she had already turned down the job. The next morning, Hae Kong and Ha-ji decided to pull out their final move to win back the curly lady's trust. They both intentionally wore matching outfits to go jogging together on the apartment grounds and kept showing romantic gestures in front of her. Ha-ji acted clingy. Hae Kong gently held her hand and promised to always protect her. The two played the role of husband and wife very naturally, but the curly lady just stood there and smirked, asserting that they were acting too obviously because no real married couple would intentionally be romantic in such an awkward way. Knowing he couldn't fool her with simple acts, Hae Kong decided to invite her to the public land of the new urban area, where they once joined the protests together. Hae Kong sincerely asked her to give him one more week to prove everything and win back her trust. The curly lady asked what he planned to do in that week, and Hae Kong just gently reminded her of the time they stood side by side for a common goal, shouting slogans together, working hard to bring benefits to the residents. He asserted that those memories were still intact in his heart until now. Those sincere words made the curly lady sway a bit. She admitted that she also really cherished that time because thanks to their joint efforts, the value of the apartment building had increased significantly. But she still didn't believe him. So Hae-kang continued to make up a touching story to strengthen her faith. He claimed that he truly loved Ha-ji. They married for love and then had a child, while the three brothers were half-siblings from the same father but different mothers, because their father lived too wildly in his youth and was also a gambling addict. The story was so logical that the curly lady also gradually softened, but her intuition told her that there was still something very suspicious. Right then, Hae-kang switched to the issue of apartment management fees and revealed that he was secretly investigating unusual spending. Hearing this, the lady immediately changed her attitude, agreeing to keep the secret and giving him exactly 1 week to clear everything up. Returning home, Hae-kang announced to the whole group that they only had 7 days to find the over 17 billion won maintenance fund that had disappeared. The fake dad analyzed that even if the president, the manager, and the chief accountant worked together, they couldn't make the account completely empty like that because the apartment building always has to pay fixed costs. In his experience, there are 3 common ways to steal funds: faking the books to withdraw money slowly, inflating construction costs to split the money with contractors, or direct embezzlement. But no matter what method was used, the balance wouldn't hit zero without a big power behind the scenes manipulating things. From that, Hae-kang realized if he wanted to find the culprit, he had to find the projects currently using the maintenance fund. The very next morning, the whole group split up to go all over the apartment complex to check every tile, the tunnel, the plumbing system, and every worn-out part. They found many spots that could be used as a reason for repairs, even intentionally creating a few small broken spots to legalize the request for fund release. The image of Hae-kang and everyone working so hard made the residents praise the new president for being very dedicated. Only the curly lady was still a bit skeptical. After that, Hae-kang asked the manager to call an emergency meeting with the block representatives to ask for their opinions on using the maintenance fund to fix the basement floor, water pipes, and many other items. However, as soon as they heard the proposal, a bunch of residents and block representatives immediately opposed it because they thought the structures were still working well and weren't worth spending the maintenance fund on. Even though Hae-kang kept explaining these were items that needed maintenance, every proposal was rejected with an overwhelming number of no votes. At home, Ha-ji and Bum watched the meeting through the screen and were also very confused as to why all of Hae-kang's plans failed. Meanwhile, Director Lee quietly followed the whole situation and quickly realized that Hae-kang had found out the maintenance fund account was empty after going to the bank to withdraw money. He laughed out loud with satisfaction because he finally understood the real reason Hae-kang recklessly ran for president was to take the more than 17 billion. After the failed meeting, Hae-kang wondered why the block representatives always opposed every development proposal for the apartment and asked if the president could fire them. The manager explained they were all elected by residents, so they were very hard to replace, unless there was evidence of corruption or blocking the development of the residential area. Chief Accountant Ha Dong had officially returned to work at this time and met Hae-kang for the first time. Hae-kang politely greeted her, introduced himself, and then cleverly said that they would be working together a lot in the coming time. After Hae-kang left, the chief accountant suddenly remembered that when he registered to run for block representative, he claimed to live alone. While now everyone says he has a large family, which made her start to suspect, but she still thought maybe she just remembered wrong. Meanwhile, the former president and his henchmen still gathered to plan to overthrow Hae-kang, believing he wouldn't be able to keep the president's chair for long. On Hae-kang's side, the whole group continued to meet to discuss how to trace the more than 17 billion maintenance fund. The fake dad analyzed that as long as the former president's faction still held the block representative positions, the fund release would never be successful. Hearing that, Hae-kang immediately gave everyone the task of secretly investigating all the block representatives but absolutely not to alert them. The next day, the whole group split up to collect bills, flyers, and documents related to each household. While Ha-ji was going to the houses, she accidentally found a bunch of heating bills for many apartments showing a balance of 0. At first, Ha-ji thought she misread them, but the Glass's brother confirmed that there were exactly 123 households that hadn't paid a single cent for heating for years, even though they still used hot water and all the apartment services. Investigating deeper, the group discovered that these households were all part of the former president's faction, including the block representatives and the board he had set up 6 years ago. To maintain his power, the former president had secretly waived all heating fees for his henchmen. Meanwhile, that money was split evenly among the other 9,600 households without anyone knowing. 6 years passed, and all the residents unknowingly had to cover the costs for these 123 privileged households. Ha-ji wondered why such a big thing was never discovered, and Hae-kang immediately realized this was the chance to take down the former president's entire power base. If they went public with the truth, all the block representatives involved would lose all their credibility and would no longer be able to block the maintenance fund investigation. After agreeing on the plan, the whole group was very excited. Ha-ji even jokingly called Hae-kang the heating knight, because he was about to stand up for the residents' rights. The very next morning, Hae-kang used the loudspeakers and drove all over the residential area, calling for everyone's attention, and then publicly exposing the fact that 123 households had been getting free heating for 6 years. He declared he would uncover all the corruption, bring back fairness for the residents, and demand that everyone involved be held accountable. The speech immediately caused a wave of anger across the entire apartment complex. The resident forum was quickly filled with critical comments, demanding a full investigation and strict punishment for those who had enjoyed illegal privileges. Even the curly lady sat down to do the math and found that if each household was waived about 10 million over 6 years, the total loss was more than 1.23 billion, a number that shocked everyone. At the management office, the phones rang non-stop because residents were calling to question them, and the manager could only tell the staff to deny everything since he didn't know how to explain it himself. Contrary to that chaos, the former president and his henchmen began to panic when they realized Hey Kong had hit their biggest weakness. Although they tried to come up with a way to deal with it and planned to blame it on broken heat meters to deny responsibility, they also understood that the residents' anger was out of control. Meanwhile, Hey Kong was step by step taking down the entire power network that the former president had spent years building. After the case of the 123 households getting free heating for 6 years was exposed, the former president and his faction were completely on the defensive. Some bloc representatives began to worry and even thought about confessing because they knew the truth couldn't be hidden anymore. Meanwhile, Director Lee also quickly got the news and realized the former president had abused his power way too much by favoring acquaintances with free heating. However, instead of staying out of it, he immediately thought of a new plan to distract public attention. He ordered Secretary Kim to spread the news that the artifacts found at the new urban area were actually fakes. Not holding back on money, he spent big on the media, social media, and YouTube channels to spread fake news, and he even took billions more from the maintenance fund of another apartment building to keep his cash flowing. He even admitted that taking money from the maintenance fund reminded him of when he was a kid and secretly took money from his dad's piggy bank without anyone finding out, showing he is way too used to stealing the residents' property. Back to Hey Kong, the whole group didn't care anymore about how the former president's side would make excuses. They just focused on finding a legal way to release the maintenance fund. According to the apartment management rules, replacing the heat meter system is something the maintenance fund is allowed to be used for. So, they decided to make this a breakthrough to both fix the mistakes and completely get rid of the former president's power. In the next resident meeting, the atmosphere quickly became tense. A female bloc representative stood up and announced her resignation, hoping to close everything, but the curly lady immediately objected, saying that just resigning wasn't enough and they needed to call the police and ask the authorities to audit the entire case from the past 6 years. Many other bloc representatives tried to blame broken heat meters or made an excuse that it was an automatic payment, so they had no idea the bills were at zero. But these explanations only made the residents more furious. Everyone kept questioning why only the bloc representatives got free heating, while more than 9,600 other households had to secretly carry that entire cost for many years. The manager was also called up to explain, but he could only bow his head and apologize because he couldn't give any logical explanation. Right at the most chaotic moment, Hey Kong stood up to calm the residents and asserted that the most important thing right now was to fix the consequences. He proposed replacing the entire heat meter system using the maintenance fund according to the apartment management rules. While many people were still wondering, Director Lee suddenly stood up to speak. He admitted that his own apartment was also in the group that didn't have to pay heating fees and confessed that he hadn't noticed the bills the whole time. After that, he declared that he would voluntarily pay back the full amount that was missing. This statement made many bloc representatives object because they claimed they didn't benefit on purpose, but the residents immediately talked back saying that whether it was accidental or on purpose, the money was still paid by all the other residents, so it absolutely had to be paid back. The curly lady also praised Director Lee's action because at least he knew how to take responsibility. Seeing that the situation couldn't be saved, the former president finally reluctantly agreed to the plan of paying back the full missing amount. Seizing the opportunity, Hey Kong declared that he would carry out a full review of all households that were illegally exempt, recover the full heating fees from the past 6 years, and return that money to the more than 9,600 households that had to pay instead, ensuring fairness for all residents. This decision got a warm response from everyone. Clapping echoed throughout the meeting room, while the former president's side officially lost their biggest support. After the tense resident meeting, Director Lee took the initiative to chase after Hey Kong to start a conversation. On the outside, he didn't hold back his praise for how Hey Kong handled the case of the 123 households getting illegal free heating, saying that recovering the illegal profits and returning them to all the residents was an extremely impressive decision. Hey Kong also politely replied and thanked him for his support. Not long after, the curly lady also met Hey Kong and gave him a compliment for the first time, admitting he handled the situation very well. However, she still reminded Hey Kong not to get overconfident because she would keep watching his every move. Even so, her attitude changed significantly as her trust in the new president grew more and more. In contrast to that positive atmosphere, in the elevator, Director Lee coldly told Secretary Kim that with great power comes great responsibility, and it was time for the former president to pay for his mistakes. According to him, this person was given the power to manage nearly 10,000 households but let everything get out of control, even accidentally creating a chance for Hey Kong to become the heating knight, supported wholeheartedly by the residents. He immediately ordered the secretary to call the former president to come see him. Meanwhile, at the apartment's coffee shop, the housewives were excitedly gossiping about how all the residents got a refund for the heating fees that were incorrectly charged for many years. Everyone was happy because the money would be deducted directly from next month's management fee. Many people admitted that from now on they would pay closer attention to checking their bills, while also giving endless praise to Hae Kong for being handsome, enthusiastic, and working transparently, always showing up at every meeting to solve problems for the residents. They felt lucky that the apartment building finally had a president who actually thought about everyone's rights. At the same time, Hae Kong was still busy dealing with a pile of documents at the office when the curly lady stopped by. After witnessing how he handled the case, she admitted that the week Hae Kong asked for earlier was totally worth it and believed he was heading in the right direction. The conversation took place in a more open atmosphere than before, showing that Hae Kong had gradually earned the trust of the person who once doubted him the most. However, in another place, director Lee's true colors finally showed. In a fit of rage, he used his own golf club to hit the former president repeatedly until he collapsed on the floor, with blood splattered all over the room. Right at that moment, the manager called to ask for the right time to get the money. Lee still calmly told him to come in 2 hours, as if nothing had happened. The scary part is that he didn't care at all about the former president's life. He only felt sorry for the imported hardwood floor worth hundreds of millions of won that was stained with blood and might be ruined. After pretending to call the former president to wake him up for a bit, he coldly said, "This is the price you pay for failing to do the job." Right after that, Lee and Secretary Kim wrapped up the former president's body and secretly took it to Taegan Farm. There, both of them dug a deep hole, buried the body, and planted a tree right on top to hide all the traces. While filling the hole with dirt, Lee mocked that the former president was useless except for being fertilizer for the trees on this mountain. He casually poured some rice wine at the base of the tree and bowed as if he were doing a farewell ceremony. But it was really just a fake act by a cold-blooded guy. Meanwhile, Director Lee still calmly met up with the manager at TG World, the place where he had just secretly buried the former president's body under a tree. At this time, Secretary Kim handed out 2 big bags of money, which made the man both happy and worried. The manager apologized to Director Lee for letting Hae Kong find out what they were doing, but Director Lee just laughed with excitement, saying that thanks to Hae Kong, the game had become more interesting. He even led the manager to the tree that was just planted and coldly declared that this tree would grow from the former president's very flesh, making the man freeze in terror. Before leaving, the manager was so terrified that he dropped a whole stack of money. He had no idea that the whole scene was secretly photographed by Bum's dad to be used as evidence. From these photos, Hae Kong quickly traced that TG World was just an ornamental plant farm owned by TSM, a subsidiary of Tezen Construction. Realizing this was an important link, Hae Kong and everyone immediately went to the Tezen headquarters. Thanks to his title as the resident representative and apartment president, he was taken to the top floor to meet the head of the company directly. In contrast to the tension on Hae Kang's side, at home, Ha Ji was playing cards with the fake dad when she got a phone call that Bum had a fever. She quickly went to school to pick up the boy. On the way taking him home, Ha Ji taught Bum that everyone has to carry their own burden. No one can live for or suffer for anyone else. Even though she firmly refused to help carry his bag at first, she finally softened when she saw Bum was tired. That simple moment showed even more that Ha Ji is becoming the boy's emotional support. In the meantime, Hae Kong walked into Director Lee's office and was surprised when the other guy welcomed him like an honorary guest. Lee kept praising Hae Kang's investigation skills, from finding the unusual heating fees to finding the artifacts buried under the apartment complex. But right after that, he immediately launched a psychological attack by giving Hae Kong a photo that recorded the scene of him withdrawing money from the long-term maintenance fund at the bank. With just this gift, Lee proved that he knew every single move of Hae Kong. No longer hiding his identity, Lee introduced himself as the head of Tezen Construction. When Lee asked what Hae Kong came here to look for, he calmly replied that he had already found the answer. Right after that, Hae Kong suddenly offered to become Lee's henchman, making the director stunned for a moment because he couldn't guess his real intention. Is this just an act for Hae Kong to get deeper into the enemy's organization? Or is he preparing a more dangerous plan? The episode closed right at the moment the battle of wits between Hae Kong and Director Lee entered its most tense stage, promising more unexpected confrontations in the next episode.